What's going on, everybody? DeVore G Money. Brighton will be here shortly. Quinte will be here shortly. This is the Not for the Bay podcast. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and all other major streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and on our Facebook pages. Another great episode. Obviously, we create only bangers. Our weekly bets and predictions. Also, just a little brief recap of what happened last week regarding the NFL. Outside of that, as far as announcements this week, I'm thinking probably the game of the week that we're probably going to have the watch party for will probably most likely be either the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles, or what was that? What was that other game? I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Is it Bucks Rams this week or no?
No, they're not a primetime game. It's the
what's the Sunday night game?
Green Bay Packers and the 49ers. It's a Sunday night game. And the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys are the
Monday night.
And I'm pretty sure nobody's going to be really too interested into the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. So you're stuck between the Eagles and Cowboys.
Depending on what the line is.
That too. It also depends on what the line too is. Well, also I'd like to welcome in Brighton. What's going on, brothers, by the way?
What's up, y'all?
How's it going? Sorry for being a little bit late here, guys.
It's all good. Hey, I'm in a good mood. I mean, a really good mood, Brighton. I just wanted to put this out there. The Seattle Seahawks, they have made me a very, very happy man this past week by taking that L to them Titans. Tighten up, baby. Tighten up.
I figured that one was coming here soon.
It made me about $244 richer, which is being expedited to me as we speak.
Yeah, I did not do anything. I did not bet on that game at all. I was a little bit worried, as I well pointed out, I think in the show before, in last week's show. So, but I'm glad you made a little bit of money on that. It was definitely emotional.
Yeah. Usually you don't bet on your own team because it never works out at the end.
Yeah. Well, I bet on the Seahawks this week because of the fact that Russell Wilson is undefeated against the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins. So hopefully,
but where's the game?
I believe it's in Minnesota.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that. Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback in prime time. Anytime it's not a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon game, he struggles. I mean, look at his career. I think he's won like 1 or 2 games in prime time. So.
Well, hey, I'm gonna need my boy Russell Wilson to come through for me. I got another $300 on the line. But shout out to Cap for Life in the comment section and Shake Money in the comment section too as well.
What's up, fellas?
I guess first things first, Brighton. Like, what's your thought process regarding the loss to the Tennessee Titans? Because I talked to quite a few Titans fans. They felt like if they didn't win this game, well, regardless, they felt robbed because the safety that the Titans should have had in the overtime, and also the back of the end zone touchdown catch that they ruled incomplete for Julio Jones, I believe, in the third quarter. They all felt like that wasn't legitimate. So go ahead and speak your mind as far as in regards to the Seahawks.
I have before you speak your mind, I got a question. Wasn't that a safety? Why wasn't that a safety? I don't get why was that not a safety?
I don't know. I don't know. I agree with you. I thought it was a safety as well.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Refs sometimes are just blind, in my opinion. I don't understand how sometimes refs and some, whether it's team analysts or broadcasters, like I don't know how some of these people have the role they have when they sometimes are not speaking. I mean, they don't even know the correct name of the player they're talking about, or the correct number, or the correct position, or it's just ridiculous. So, refs included with that. I don't know how you miss some easy calls. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree, Cap. That was a safety.
But to the question from DeVore, and welcome back, by the way. It's good to have you back on the show.
Appreciate that, sir. I heard a lot of nonsense last week, so I had to come up on here, get it right. I also got a very special question for G. So brace yourselves.
I'll make mine quick because I can't wait for G to get a moment here on the floor to speak his mind about. I think DeVar already knows, so I won't say too much here, but I know G wants to give it to him. So Titans, that was a tough game to watch at the end. I mean, I don't understand, one, the offsides call, and then two, I mean, sometimes the play calling to me is just baffling. It's like you have one of the, in my opinion, I mean, it's debatable, but I don't really think, numbers speak for themselves, and Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't understand why you continue to not orient an offense more around him. Instead, you run on first and second, and then do a deep bomb play action. I mean, it's crazy to me. Hold on, we got a question here from Cap. Brighton, I got DK, but I'm playing it usually guys Russell and Lockett. Do you trust DK? Yes, I always trust DK. I mean, in terms of him as a player, I mean, it's hard to bench him. His upside is way too high, so you definitely have to play him. But when you go to draft a player like him in terms of a up and down, he's not always going to give you a good solid 10 to 12 points. He's going to have some weeks that he blows up and some weeks that he gets 5. You have to construct the rest of your roster to be a little bit more safe so that you have stuff to balance it out.
I got a question.
Most bench players. Yeah,
I got a question for you. Sorry to interrupt. So you're saying, based on what you're saying, the Seahawks lost because of the play calling? They weren't aggressive enough?
No. That's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, the Seahawks lost because of the play. I mean, the performance. The play calling actually wasn't that bad in this game. I just mean in general. Not this game in particular. But this year, the play was just bad. I mean, and Russell included. I'm not saying he's always great. I mean, a lot of, even last year in the playoffs, I mean, he had some of the worst performances down the stretch of the season. Some of the worst play I've seen from him. But in general, I'm saying he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Look at his resume. I mean, it's top shelf. So, I mean,
I agree.
Okay, ultimatum question. As far as fantasy is concerned, DK or Lockett?
DK.
Again, it depends. It doesn't really depend. Yeah, DK all day. I mean, DK and Lockett are both similar players. Lockett, you're going to have 4 to 6 games where he is insane, and then you're going to have 8 to 10 games where he does nothing. I mean, 10 to 12 games where he does nothing. So, I mean, DK.
So you're telling me, hold on,
DK,
real quick. So you're telling me he's on the downslide right now?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying go look at his stats. Most of his stats come from 4 to 6 games, maybe in 2 to 4 games a year. I mean, the same thing like Amari Cooper, right? Go look at Amari Cooper. He's a top 20, top 15 receiver, whatever it is in people's opinion, right? Go look at his numbers. Aside from last year, I'm pretty sure he was actually pretty consistent. But look at the years before that. He's got 2 games where he's got 200 yards receiving. Mm-hmm. He's got another 2 games where he's got 150. And then he's got 7 or 10 to 12 games where he's got 400 yards, 400 to 500 yards total. So I mean, he's not a guy that's going to consistently go get you. I mean, he's not DeAndre Hopkins, right? He's not going to get 80 yards and a touchdown, or maybe not a touchdown, but he's just still going to get you 80 yards, and 7 to 10 catches. I mean, he's not that type of guy in that offense. Lockett or DK, neither one of them are. So I would take DK all day.
Okay,
I would agree.
The talent, he's insane. So the height, weight, speed,
the physicality,
absurd. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense how you could be that big, that fast, and that strong, all in one person. Like, it's absurd to me. So his problem is he's not the most polished route runner, and he doesn't have the most short area quickness. But I mean, that could be, look at Megatron. I mean, he didn't have the biggest route tree, and nor was he the most explosive. I mean, he was explosive. I mean, not most short area quick. Right? I mean, so DK can definitely evolve. Yeah. His comparison is Terrell Owens from a lot of people just because of the body type. But I mean, I don't know. Terrell Owens is tough because Terrell Owens was very quick as well. Yes, he's similar body. I mean, they have pretty much the same body. DK, I think, might be an inch or two taller, but
T.O. did everything. He route running. He deep balled. He was physical. He ran across the middle. T.O. did everything. Like T.O.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That.
So, I mean, it's not fair to T.O. to compare. I mean, again, DK can get there, and DK is a monster for being 22 or 21, however old he is. But he's not the route runner. He's not quite that type of player that T.O. was, and even was at an early part of his career. So.
Before we move on, I did want to chime in as far as DK is concerned, because I don't feel like he has the same runs with that same aggression as T.O. does. Like T.O. ran with aggression.
No.
I think he does. I just think
ain't no debate there. He taking a hitch to the house.
Wait. Listen. What I'm saying is T.O. He runs with that aggression. He's just not as talented and not as willing to route run as T.O. and not willing to block, and like he's not there yet, but he can get there. I think he runs with aggression. I think he does. I
I'm more in line with G here on this. I mean, in my opinion, when I say by aggressive, is he's not gonna, in my opinion, go out and cut your throat out like a T.O. type would, right? Like that Kobe Bryant killer, right? I mean, not that T.O. is quite probably the killer of Kobe, because nobody was, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Laker fan, so I'm biased, but that killer type instinct. I mean, T.O. would literally go cut your throat out and talk trash to you while he's doing it and continue to do it all game long, like with no problem at all. No, I mean, DK is one that might dominate, but he's not going to go cut your throat out like it. Like again, to what I've seen so far, that's not the type of guy he is.
But in my opinion, I think he can. I think he can reach that. He has that potential.
Oh yeah. Well, even if you don't have to cut people's throat out to be insane, right? I mean,
true.
Like you look at, again, DeAndre Hopkins. He's not cutting a guy's throat. I mean, yeah, he might be aggressive and physical with you and talk trash back, but he's not the Antonio Brown or the even the Hines Ward type player that's going to get under your skin and just.
Thank you. Can you say Hines Ward, because this guy over here, because it's reversed. This guy over here doesn't like nothing Steelers, nothing.
Well, no, I mean, Hines, you've got Hines was one of the toughest, if not the toughest receiver in the NFL. He was the greatest run blocking wide receiver in the game, especially a top receiver. Like, I mean, Hines Ward was a top 20 receiver pretty much his whole career, maybe 25 at some points of his career. Obviously not at the tail end. But
I think Steve Smith was Hines Ward, but much better. Much better. Remember Steve Smith, Panthers?
100%. Steve Smith was different than Hines. I mean, Steve Smith was more of a receiver than Hines Ward. I mean, he was definitely
right, but he was tough. Way better receiver. Block too. Yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely tough. He would go lay out linebacker. I mean, he was an animal.
Question: is Hines Ward in the Hall of Fame?
Okay. He should be.
No, he shouldn't.
He should be.
It's a damn shame. The man got 3 Super Bowl rings, but ain't in the Hall of Fame. That says something. That says something to me.
That says they don't know what they're doing up there in Ohio.
So let me think about the top receivers of the 2000s. Randy Moss, T.O.'s number 1. Randy Moss is number 2, and then you have Marvin Harrison. You would throw Reggie Wayne in there, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden,
Andre Johnson,
Chad Johnson.
No, you don't put Anquan Bolden. No.
Why not? What? You are tripping.
Yeah, you're tripping.
Are you going in order, or are you just saying names?
Yeah, no, you can't be going in order, but he's
it's not in order. But I'm just giving. I'm about to give you 10. I'm giving you 10. Well, T.O. is number 1 regardless, so that's in order.
T.O. over Randy Moss?
Yes. I don't respect players who say I play when I want to play. I don't respect players who say stuff like that. I can't.
When Randy Moss played, he was amazing.
No.
I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there's a debate there. There's a debate. Randy Moss.
There's no debate. There's no debate.
Yes, there is.
There is no debate. Everywhere T.O. has went, he has been an All-Pro. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Randy Moss, not so much. I don't want to hear nothing. There's no debate.
Randy Moss was legendary, man. You got to.
I don't care if he's legendary or not. Yeah. You don't tell me you'll play when you want to play. That's dead. He is not.
Okay,
he is not better than T.O.
Okay, the one thing that I just have a problem with is you can say a guy doesn't want to play. At least he says I don't want to play, and he tells them that. I mean, yes, it was in the middle of a game at some points with Oakland and whatever, but I'm not trying to defend that. Yes, you need to play. Regardless of if you like the situation, whatever. You have a contract that you need to abide by. You need to play. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying the guys that get like nicked and hurt and miss time all of the time. The guy that I apologize if you ever see this for the amount that I might give you on this show, okay? But Danilo Gallinari, I cannot understand a guy like that he missed like 60 games with a strained glute. I like that just in my head I can never get over it. He has a strained ass cheek, excuse my language. And he misses 60 games. So like that's the thing that irritates me when people don't give credit, or not don't give credit, but don't talk about that in the same effect of somebody like in the Randy Moss situation saying I'm not playing, because you're still, even if you're injured, whatever you want to say, you're still not available for your team, just like in a Randy Moss situation. But I am with G on this one all day. I definitely take Randy Moss. I'm not saying Terrell Owens isn't. Terrell Owens might be even a more well-rounded wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. Like Randy Moss was more of the deep threat kind of guy. But the way that Randy Moss could take over a game, there's very few receivers like that in the NFL. Yes, Terry Holt. Jesus, I was going to say Torrey Holt, but that's not even Terrell Owens can take over a game too, but not in the way that Randy Moss literally just dominated a receiver by jumping over two defenders, a safety and a corner, maybe two safeties in a corner, scores the touchdown, and just gets at your morale and your soul and just dominates.
So basically, I just want to say that I hear what you're saying, DeVore. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not even picking Randy Moss over T.O. All I'm saying is that who impacted the game more?
T.O.
Who? No, he did not. He didn't. Randy, come on, man. If you were born between 1990 and 93 or 94, when you bomb somebody, what they used to say, they didn't say you TO'd them.
Randy Moss,
you mossed them.
We just had the hold on, wait a minute.
Randy Moss was a generational talent.
Y'all just rambled about blocking. Randy Moss does not block. So don't even bring that to the table right now.
Okay, T.O. doesn't block.
He was one of the best blocking receivers. He was one of the best blocking receivers. What are we talking about here?
That's great, but come on, that's not. Come on, man. That's not an impact to the game.
T.O. ran every single route, and he was threatened to take it to the house every single time. Every time. Okay. Randy Moss, you get Randy one
Moss,
route.
come on, man.
That's it. You ain't see Randy Moss go across the middle.
But that one route was great. Oh, come on.
DeVore.
I'm not giving you
that. Come on, DeVore. Look at their numbers.
They're similar. They're very similar.
So that wasn't my look at who has better. You could say similar, but who's more in every category just about?
It's even.
It's not even. Okay, you're gonna tell me it's the exact
Google it up.
Yeah.
Google it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead with the next topic. Go ahead with the next
topic.
Google it up. All right.
No. Come on. I got it right here. Terrell Owens. Total receptions 1,078, 15,000 yards, 16,000 yards, we'll call it, and 153 touchdowns. Okay, let's look at Randy Moss here. Okay, 982. So he's got. Oh, geez, I actually need to close my mouth.
Yeah, you do, because I look at it every day. I know.
Career-wise, he's actually a little bit higher, but he played in more seasons. 8, 3.
Who played more seasons? Randy Moss, right?
8, 4, 2. Yeah.
So Randy Moss has more receptions. What about touchdowns?
No. He doesn't. He has. I got to give T.O. a little bit more credit here. DeVore made me eat my words here. I apologize.
Hey, I'm a diehard T.O. fan. Last night I was just watching some T.O. highlights.
219 games to 218 games, right? T.O.'s got 1,078 to 982 in catches, so about 100 more. Right. He's got about 700 more yards, 16,000 to 15,3, And then Randy Moss has got 3 more touchdowns, 156 to 153.
Moss has
So
more yards
less,
per reception as well. Moss has 15.6.
way more.
With
Yeah,
2.9.
way more.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
3 more touchdowns, but T.O. has more yards and more receptions.
But look at this year. I mean, I'm just saying, 98 catches, 1,500 yards, 23 touchdowns. Like, there's not a receiver. Yes, don't get me wrong, that was with Brady, but like, there's not a receiver in the NFL really that puts up 23 touchdowns in a year.
Give T.O. Tom Brady, Brighton. Give T.O. Tom Brady. Let's see what happens.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of either of the Red Rockets, Palmer nor Dalton. I mean, I don't think he even really played with Dalton too much, but I'm not a fan of, or not Dalton, excuse me. I'm not a fan of Donovan McNabb, not the Red Rockets, excuse me, or Jeff Garcia, really. So he didn't have the best quarterbacks, but even look what he did with Dante Culpepper. It's not like he didn't put up numbers. I mean, 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns. His rookie year, he put up 1,317 touchdowns. 1,400.
That's Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham, a Hall of Famer.
Wait, so hold on. Wait. The way that you're sounding is you're sounding like T.O. is way above Randy Moss. They're not. They're like right there.
It's neck and neck. It's
neck and neck right there.
Those were Randy Moss's numbers, not T.O.'s. His rookie year, he put up 1,300 yards and 17 touchdowns, 1,411, 1,415. I mean, he dominated early, and the touchdown numbers that he put up with. The way that he could dominate not only as a deep threat, but even in the red zone area when needed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just, his catch radius, the one-handed, before the Odell, it was the Randy. I mean, the Moss. I mean, the
Moss.
The one-handed grab, the crazy catches in the back of the end zone. I mean, that was all Moss.
He made it exciting to watch, but T.O. did everything. He did everything. He ran across the middle, he ran routes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. T.O. was definitely a more complete player.
T.O. If you need a post route, give it to T.O.
Yeah. You need a short route. Yes, T.O. all day. But who am I going to pick at the start of the game? Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, definitely.
Who am I going to pick if I need a touchdown and it's 2 minutes to go? Randy Moss. Who am I going to? I mean,
you never know if Randy Moss going to run half speed on that play.
Yardage.
Yeah, okay, and he still is a Hall of Famer. Stop it, man. Come on.
Well,
shouldn't have been a first ballot if you ask me, but hey, I ain't in there to make
now you're taking it too far. I ain't taking it too
far. I ain't taking it too far. Let's be real. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Look, I don't mean to jump too. Come on. I'm not trying to jump too much off here, but this should go as a serving point for Randy Moss. It's proof when he had Brady, who's a person who's going to hold everybody accountable and not mess around, that when somebody who has talent can get the discipline side of things and actually put the work in, they can put up insane results. Look at, again, they broke almost every record that was out when they played together because Brady, again, held Moss accountable and forced him to put the work in. Learn the playbook, learn the plays, run the plays, put in the work to get where we want to be. And if he could have had that his whole career, I mean, again, most great players have the internal discipline, but he was so talented. And again, I'm not trying to still fight the T.O. case. Again, T.O. was a more well-rounded player, but the just supreme talent that Randy Moss had to be able to overcome all of the discipline issues. He used to say at Marshall that he would drink and smoke and do all of this stuff before games, in the middle of games, and he still went out and broke, insane records. He scored touchdowns.
You know what?
Multiple
what's a good comparison?
College game.
You know what's a good comparison to Randy Moss? Shaq. Yeah. If Shaq was more healthy, and he was already dominant as it is, but if he was more healthy, if he stopped eating McDonald's and wasn't as fat, the Lakers could have won maybe 6 in a row. You just never know. That's a good comparison. Shaq,
here's my counter argument to that.
Shaq was a little bit more dominant. Shaq was a little bit more dominant just because of the fact that it was only 5 players and he could control offense and defense, right? I mean, so
true.
In the style or the game, and he was more of a force than Randy. I'm not saying to disrespect Moss at all, but just because there was again 5 players on the court and you play offense and defense, and he could dominate on both ends. That's the only thing. Shaq was just insanely dominant. Go ahead, DeVar.
He could have been better though. He could have been better.
This is my counter argument. T.O. learned how to play the wide receiver position in college. He didn't come in. He wasn't playing football in high school until like his senior year. So he was learning how to play the wide receiver position basically during college. So if he was to take football seriously at that point, we don't know what kind of T.O. we would have gotten.
Well, that's true.
But there was also issues with T.O. and his I don't agree. But listen, wait.
Don't do that.
You have to say
Randy
I don't
Moss
agree with it.
Randy Moss got the issues too.
But if you're gonna talk about Randy Moss issues, you got to talk about T.O.
I didn't bring it up. You brought it up.
He had locker room issues, and I think that held him back a lot as well, as far as T.O.'s production on the field.
Allegations, objection.
Hey, Kobe had some allegations too. I mean,
allegations
a lot of players got allegations, right? I mean,
true.
And a lot of players have situations that they got to overcome that were crazy, or things that they got to overcome. You got
Shake made a point. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say just like Hakeem Olajuwon was more well-rounded than Shaq. Yeah, but he wasn't as dominant. You're right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a similar. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's in a basketball compare. That's perfect. Yeah. I mean, thank you for that comment, Shay. I mean, perfect example. I mean, yes. I can't think of a basketball analogy in terms of when I would want Hakeem over Shaq. Maybe in a defensive, like a hustle style situation. I mean, I don't know, but that's a perfect analogy to what the point we were trying to make with Randy Moss is just more dominant in a game. I mean, Terrell Owens, again, more well-rounded. Yes, to your point, he is a better blocker. I'm not saying I disagree with your point that he was a top run blocker as a wide receiver. I mean, he was a above average or a good maybe run blocker, but he was not a Hines Ward level run blocker as a wide receiver.
But we all know who in the Hall of Fame. Is Hines in the Hall of Fame?
Well, Terrell Owens was way better.
Is Hines in the Hall of Fame? That's all I need to know.
I'm not saying Hines most and back to, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Hines and G. I know you're just going to disagree with this and probably hate me because I was on the Steelers band or brought up the Hines point, but I don't think Hines should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, most years he was not the number one option, right? I mean, he was the maybe 1A. That was it's like a Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison as Reggie Wayne got a little bit older style situation, right? I mean, he always had a Santonio Holmes or a Plaxico Burress or somebody there that helped take pressure, and he was never a guy that he was never Antonio Brown, right? He wasn't going to go get 12 targets, 10 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns on like
later in his career, yes. Later in his career,
he's a Dennis Rodman. He's a Dennis Rodman. That's what he is, a Dennis Rodman.
Hey, listen, that's not disrespectful. Dennis Rodman is one of the greatest players ever.
Yes, I think he's more of a like 50% of Scottie Pippen. I'm not saying like he's more of a Scottie Pippen style. He's your Robin, but he's not the quarterback's Robin that most people, he's not your DeAndre Hopkins to Kyler Murray or your Devontae Adams to
both of you. The both of you, the disrespect.
Nope, you shouldn't even be. That dude should not even be mentioned in T.O.'s.
I think Hines is great. He should be in the Steelers Hall of Fame, but he was not.
That's all you need. Steelers Hall of Fame, but your number don't get retired. That's what you deserve.
No, he was not in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not judge and jury, but in my jury opinion, he is certainly not a Hall of Famer. And I don't think his numbers show that he is a Hall of Famer. His numbers show. I mean, his game shows, way more than the numbers because, again, he's, in my opinion, the model wide receiver blocker, but he's not the dominant wide receiver that you need to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's not Jerry Rice. He's not. He's not. But sorry, we've got way off topic here. Sorry, go ahead.
shout out to Pete in the comment section. Before we actually get to our bets and predictions, I did want to bring back up. Y'all just introduced the segment last week.
Sorry, Devore. I don't. Come on, Cap. Let's be real here. Santonio Holmes in the Hall of Fame. Come on, my man.
Nah.
All right, go ahead, Devore. Go ahead.
All right, so it was birthed last week, the hate or play segment. So I'm gonna go ahead, just a brief description of the hate or play. Who is on the downside slide as far as the NFL player is concerned? That's the hate. And as far as the play, who is not getting enough credit as they should deserve? Excuse me. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my hate, and my hate is gonna go to Jameis Winston. Two interceptions this past week again versus the Carolina Panthers. That is my hate, and my play. Excuse me. Forgot the segment HUD. And my play. Damn. Who should be my play? Hollywood Brown. Two touchdowns last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're giving credit to a Baltimore Raven guy? Cool.
Yeah, I am. And I want you to admit what you said when we had the watch party Sunday evening about Lamar Jackson after he threw that second pick.
What did I say?
Oh,
wait.
So
I said that he overthrows. He's not good, accurate downfield. He's overthrowing a lot of plays.
Okay. I just wanted you to say that on here. But go ahead with your hater play.
Brian, you go first. Actually, you know what? I'll go first. So my play, and it's going to be crazy, but I mean, the man is 45 years old, and he's still doing it. Tom Brady looks good as ever. He still looks great. That team, I thought the Rams were the favorite, and they probably still are. Wait. Go ahead.
Before you continue, you said your play is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He played against the Dallas Cowboys defense, which was ranked to be bottom 5 in the league. He played against the Atlanta Falcons defense that was ranked to be bottom 5 in the league. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, continue with you.
But listen, it's based off age. It's based off age and attrition and how long he's been in the game and how great he has been, since he's been in the game. I mean, like, it's been 20 years, over 20 years, and he's still great. So that's my play. As far as my hate, I don't know. I don't know if yeah, Big Ben, dude, just retire, dude. Like I love Big Ben. He was great for the Steelers, obviously, but he's done. Like he just can't play anymore, and it's because of his injuries and all the attrition on his body, getting hit all those years. Like, and I'm not even trying to hate on Big Ben. I just think that he's done. I really think that he's done. I think they should you can't go with Rudolph. You put Haskins in, and you see where he can do for you because. I don't think Big Ben can last the rest of the season. He looks real bad, man. It's not even funny. It's like it's sad actually, but we'll see. Yeah, Big Ben is done.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with both your points there, G. I mean, every year and shout out to Blevins if he ever watches this episode here. He made a bet. Going into my fantasy with a totally different scoring format than standard leagues where quarterbacks score in the neighborhood of 35 to 50 usually. So it's a totally different type of scoring format, but made a bet with him in our fantasy team ending points because he drafted Tom Brady, and every single year I get wrong about Brady for the last 3-4 years. I keep thinking he is done, but everybody wants to talk about LeBron James as the most athletic marvel. I think when we talk about underrated and not spoken about, it's Tom Brady's athleticism. The dude is 44 or 45, gonna be 700 before he retires, and is slinging the ball. He's got the most passing yards, I think, of his career through the first 2 games this year. Yes, to your point, Devore, he's playing the Cowboys, and the defenses he's played are not top shelf. I'm not trying to say that, but the dude is 44, 45. We're talking about like the end of Brett Favre. He's throwing the ball insane. I mean, we haven't seen a quarterback like this. Again, Brett Favre was like probably 42 or 43 the last year that he had decent when he was with Minnesota, I think. On the Jets, he was not the same player. I mean, he didn't have weapons around him, but he was not the same player. So, I mean, what Tom Brady's doing and can do is ridiculous. And I agree, Big Ben's done. But my hater plays are CEH. My hate is CEH. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not even so much that I hate him as a player. My vision for him, I thought he was going to just have way higher stats. And this is more relates to fantasy than real life, most likely. I mean, he it's not that he's not doing well in real life. It's just his numbers do not show that he's doing anything really. And it's like Kansas City just doesn't have he's playing all three downs. He has the role that you need. His numbers are, he's just not putting up the dominant performances that I thought he would coming out of LSU. He was never the quickest guy. He was never the fastest guy, but he was never the fastest guy, but he was quick enough and he was bulky enough and had great balance that I thought he could still do really well in the NFL. And he just hasn't for whatever reason. I mean, he just has not been well at all.
Shout out to Jonathan in the chat, and Cap just said last time I heard, can't fix old Brady, won 3 more rings. This guy over here, our great producer leader, doesn't like you don't give Brady any credit for what I'm saying is his longevity. Just like LeBron, the longevity of how long they've been great. That's what you got to respect. The longevity of Brady and LeBron and players that are able to stay long and be great at as long as they have been. I don't understand why you don't respect that. That's what I'm talking about. Forget about the defense. The fact that he's 45, 44, and he's still playing great, that's what you got to respect for. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm 100% in agreement with that. Just the age and the ability to dominate. But my plays or my play, it is I said plays because it is 2 people for pretty much the same reason. And numbers wise, it's not backing it up so far, but when you're watching the games, it shows it. Carson Wentz and Saquon, their ability to bounce back and from their injuries, from all of the crazy stuff that happened with Wentz just in general last year, just their ability to bounce back. And Wentz, last week, he did not look necessarily the greatest, but week 1 against us, yes, they lost, and his numbers, again, don't show that his numbers are not great. I'm not trying to say they are, but his command of the offense and his ability to run it, I think I said this last week, even on the show, was just very surprising with the amount of time that he missed. And then Saquon, yes, he had a good 41-yard run last week, and that might be part of the bias or part of the reasoning behind it. But even if you take out that run, 1, he played 84% of the snaps, which is almost double of last week. And then 2, he's doing the little Saquon dance. He's not fully doing it yet, but where he's trying to shake and bake players, where he wasn't really, where he's really trusting the knee. Like you can see that he's trusting it, doing the little dance. But I think by about week 8, he'll be back. I don't think he's fully healthy yet, and I don't think he's going to be insane, probably even this year. But I think if he doesn't get hurt again, which is, again, not a guarantee, especially after he got hurt twice already, I think he by about week 8, he'll be back to maybe the Saquon of old. Their line still is bad, so I don't think his numbers are going to be great, but just the explosiveness and the dancing and the strength and the big plays, I think will be there. And then again, Wentz, just for the ability to bounce back with a new team, the whole situation that happened last year, Hurts stealing his job. He got hurt, benched by the coach. I mean, I think the reason why Peterson got fired in the first place was because of a rift with Wentz. And then they both end up, leaving Philadelphia. And it can't be easy for the mental situation, of a player, especially somebody who's at least been quoted in the news as much as being an arrogant person, getting destroyed on a confidence side where a rookie comes in, steals your job after a coach gets fired because he wanted to do things one way that you didn't. Or, again, that's the news. I don't know the background, but that's the news. I don't know the guaranteed situation, but that's the news. And then you get kicked off. I mean, again, bouncing back from that situation with very little time and doing what he did.
I agree with you. To bounce back, not only physically from the injury, but bounce back mentally. So yeah, I agree. Because I was just going to get on you about you picking two guys on two teams that are 0-2. But then when you explained it, I was like, okay, not so much Barkley, but Wentz. Okay, I get it. But again, their teams are 0-2. So.
Well, yeah, and I don't mean it in again owning coming back and dominating the situation or playing them as in winning, making your team win. But I just think their ability to bounce back from those situations make me believe they're on the uptrend, both in a fantasy type situation as well as in real life.
I agree with you on Wentz. Yeah.
Well, before we move on to our predictions and bets, back to Tom Brady. I'm so glad Peyton Manning came out and made the comment that he made about the fact that his locker might have been bugged by the New England Patriots. People just seem to forget about Spygate, Deflategate, and all the gates that happened coming out of New England. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on to our NFL bets and predictions, kicking it off with tomorrow's game, the Thursday night game, the Carolina Panthers at the Houston Texans. And the Carolina Panthers are the 7.5 favorite right now.
It's too much because Texas has been looking real good last two games.
Not so sure. But with the Houston Texans, the quarterback position is definitely in question. We don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Tyrod Taylor is hurt with the thigh injury. So it's going to come down to Davis Mills, and they just activated Jeff Driscoll from the practice squad. With the Carolina Panthers, they have been extremely dominant. They are currently sitting at 2-0 right now, taking down the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints. So with that being said, where are we going with this game, gentlemen?
Carolina money line, just straight up. No over under, no points. I'm just going Carolina's going to win the game.
That's an expensive bet, my man.
Very.
But for me, I in a betting situation, I would want to do if you can get the sweetheart deal that some sites do or some locations have with a 10-point teaser. I would try to do that on the Texans or even the over on a 10-point sweetheart or even a 13-point if you're real confident in the other three plays that you can get down, a 13-point teaser. I do think Carolina, even on the spread, I would take Carolina in this situation. I would even take Carolina with Tyrod starting. Sam Darnold was actually going to be my play before I decided to talk about the mental inspiration and just the coming back from an injury inspiration in Saquon for my plays. It was going to be Sam Darnold. I don't think he's ever probably going to be a number one quarterback. I think he's Mahomes, right? But I don't think he's as bad as people made him out to be. The Jets did absolutely nothing for him. I mean, I gave the Packers and Aaron Rodgers some crap last week or two, a couple weeks ago, for them never helping him, but they literally did nothing for Sam Darnold. And then they immediately draft a guy, sign Corey Davis, sign another guy, draft Elijah Moore high, draft Elijah Moore high, sign Corey Davis, sign I can't even remember the other guy's name, but they signed another guy, receiver, right away, went and got weapons, right? But gave Darnold nothing. Yes, it's a new coach, it's new everything, but then he goes to Carolina. They have DJ Moore, they have Robbie Anderson. I mean, they have a loaded Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they have a loaded situation. So he doesn't need to do too much. He needs to be, a little bit better than Alex Smith in that spot. Yes, they need a better defense. I'm not saying they can win a championship with that roster, but in that offense, he doesn't need to be too much. I mean, he needs to be a little bit more than Alex Smith, and he is. He's as athletic, if not more, than Alex Smith. He doesn't get credit for that. He's not as accurate or as smart, and he's way more aggressive without the mentality, so he makes way more mistakes. But I'd definitely take Carolina in this situation. Try to tease it down, but if not, I'd still take Carolina, even with Texans at home. Quarterback situation makes this an easy play with Carolina. Tyrod's not in the game. Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll are your answers. You definitely want to take the other team.
You don't think the Houston Texans can cover the 7.5?
No, I would try to buy it down to 6.5. Most places will allow you to do that. You might just have to pay minus 150 instead of the 110 or whatever. It's at 7.5, but I would do that to cover yourself on a touchdown. But I think even worst case scenario, I do think Carolina beats them by 14. 10 to 14, in my opinion, at a minimum. I don't see how they keep up. I mean, Driscoll is a little bit athletic. I don't know too much about Mills. I know he's not a rocket arm, and I know he's not super athletic, but I know Driscoll can move a little bit from his time at Florida and whatever the other college he went to in Florida. But they're not going to be able to keep up. They already are quitting with Watson not playing. Their roster's not good enough to compete even with Watson. He carried them to the 4 wins they had last year, but they're surprising. Don't get me wrong. They're playing way.
They're playing with heart. They got heart. They may not have the talent, but they're playing with heart.
Yeah, but heart can only get you so far. If the other team's got heart and talent, then you're never going to stack up. If the other team's just got talent but no heart, you got a shot. But if the other team's got both, you're not going to stand a chance.
I hear you. So we all on board with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Arizona Cardinals are 7.5-point favorites. Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals has kicked off the season with a phenomenal start. I believe averaging at least 3 touchdowns a game. So either through the air or on the ground. Now the Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel they are in limbo right now, trying to figure out what their identity is. Trevor Lawrence currently right now, not off to the greatest of starts. They're struggling to find a way to run the football. It's just a mess in Jacksonville.
I believe 7.5. I'm sorry. I believe 7.5 is too low. I think they can easily win by 14 points. Maybe even I would go as far as saying this might be a blowout. I don't see this close at all. The Cardinals' offense is very potent, and their defense is great. Jacksonville is just a complete disaster, at least right now. I think they can eventually turn it around, but it's not going to happen this week. 7.5 is too low, but, it's a safe bet. So, yeah, I keep saying Carolina. Arizona Cardinals, easy.
Yeah, for me, I stay away from this one. Personally, I do think the Cardinals do easily cover, but I still don't know enough about Urban Meyer myself to put my money at risk. He was very potent at everywhere he was as an offense. My lean on this game in general would be the under, but again, I want to stay away just because I don't know enough about Urban Meyer. Arizona's defense does not get enough credit. Everybody wants to talk about. Again, Murray has been insane all year. And DeAndre Hopkins is ridiculous. They have weapons, so I get why the defense isn't talked about, but their defense is ridiculous. Isaiah Thomas has been insane. They have Buda Baker, who's ridiculous. The rookie or second-year player that they got, Zaven Collins. Their defense is loaded. So, and that's not even talking about their outside, boundary weapons with Murphy Bunting and whoever they got on the other side. It's not Peterson anymore, but whoever they got on the other side. They're just loaded. They're loaded with weapons. So I do think Cardinals win. I lean under on the 52, but I just personally, I don't know enough about Urban Meyer. Most college coaches don't make it in the NFL. Even Nick Saban, one of the greatest college coaches in the game of history, was not a good NFL coach. It's just a different style. You got to treat a man different than you treat a college man or a young man. It's just a totally different style, but I loved Urban Meyer. I'm a huge Florida fan. So part of me is a little bit biased, just thinking he's going to figure it out and their offense is going to be ridiculous. And I don't trust the Cardinals. Every time I bet on them, they just screw me over. Even if they win, they don't cover, or I'll take a first half bet and they just get dominated in the first half. I can't do it. I love Kyler Murray. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I love Isaiah Simmons.
I'm laughing. The reason why I'm laughing is because this guy picks the Cardinals, apparently, according to Banks, every year to win a division, and they always fold towards the end of the year.
I picked the Niners. I picked the Niners a couple years ago to go win the division, and guess what? They went to the Super Bowl. So don't listen to Banks.
Hey, DeVore, first of all, I don't want to talk about 2018 when we're in 2021. What happened in 19 and 20? Who'd you pick then to win the division? Don't bring something up that was 3 years ago and say, oh, hey, remember that one time when you've been making predictions every year.
I didn't pick. You know what? I picked the Seahawks. So now I picked the Seahawks last year.
Hey, well, that's my man. I'll stop giving you shit then. Hey,
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
Hey. That's what I'm talking about. I know. I know. But I'm just saying, this year I took the Arizona Cardinals. This is the year of the Red Bird.
I don't know.
We'll see. That division is wide open. Anybody can win that division.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to give it just a shout out, even though it hurts my soul to say this, especially on camera. But I might have to give a shout out to my man Jerron and say I think the Rams are the favorite. That they were already so good, their defense is ridiculous, and then they added Matthew Stafford, who gives them a totally different element. So I think them and the Niners. I think the Niners get Trey Lance in the game, and he's smart and figures it out and doesn't need too much time or too much massaging or managing. I think they're elite too. The Seahawks,
you know what?
But they just aren't dynamic enough on the play calling. Go ahead.
You know what? Before we get to the next game, I think because there's 7 teams that can make the playoffs since last year, since they changed the rules. I think you can see 3 teams from that division make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yep.
I think you can. There's a possibility. It can happen. Yep. It can happen.
It has happened.
It's happened before the seven teams in the playoffs. It's happened many times.
Yeah, I think you could see them again if the Niners cannot get bit by the injury bug again. I think you could see all of the teams end 500 or above as well, or very close to 500 or above. True. All 4 teams. So you're definitely going to see a very decent shot at 3 of them being in, minimum of 2 of them being in, but a decent shot at 3 of them being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Here's gonna be my shocker pick. The Vikings are going to be that third team, the wild card team.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's an animal, man. I mean,
Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins look good.
Who's their quarterback?
Kirk Cousins look good.
Okay, exactly.
Kirk Cousins look good.
That's all you gotta say. Kirk Cousins. That's all you gotta say.
You are a hater.
Ain't got no chance. I'm a hater. You go ahead, man. You just like mediocre players. I don't get it.
Yeah, DeVore, you have to remember, even if they get close, or even if they get into the playoffs by some miracle, okay, they get into the playoffs. Every game in the playoffs is prime time, so they will lose the wild card round because they're definitely not earning a bye week. They're definitely going to be in the wild card. So they're going to lose week 1, even if the first week of the playoffs, even if they make it, because Cousins is a choke artist. He cannot.
Wait a minute. That's not the conversation. The conversation is, are they going to the playoffs?
They're not.
No,
they're not.
No,
they're not. No. I'm just saying, if they by some miracle do, they're out right away. That's all I'm telling you.
The safe bet is 3 teams from the NFC West will make the playoffs before Minnesota does. And this is my opinion.
You're tripping. Next pick.
Oh wait, hold up, real quick. I think we missed some of these comments here.
Well, no, the last one was this.
My hate of the week is. Did we give credit to all these other ones? Maybe I didn't hear.
He said Cooper Kupp is on roids. I'm assuming he's on the team that he's about to play in his fantasy league.
And Shake said Rams if quarterback stays healthy. But I think he's saying if he stays healthy, they win a division. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Next one.
All right, so we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are the favorite again because last week they weren't the favorite, but a favorite by 5.5 points for the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz's status is in question because of the fact he has 2 ankle sprains on both feet. So, and also Pascal's injured as well, along with T.Y. Hilton out for the season. So with that being said, with the Tennessee Titans, defense is definitely a question mark. Last week they bounced back from a terrible week 1 loss versus the Arizona Cardinals. End up beating the Seattle Seahawks in overtime. So who ends up coming out on top between the division rivals?
Upset pick. I'm going with upset pick. I got the Colts.
I gotta completely disagree with G on this one. I think the win against the Seahawks definitely is going to give them confidence. I think they might realize the identity. Right? I mean, Getting Julio, I think, confused them. They had Julio and A.J. Brown, two elite weapons, and they didn't know what to do. They still had Henry, but they just didn't know what to do with the offense. But I think last week, obviously, Henry's your engine, and the other guys eat when they can. I think this week, because the Colts do have a very good defense led by Darius Leonard to stop the run, I mean, I do think this week you're going to see one of Julio or A.J. Brown pop off in a big way if the Titans do win and cover the 5.5 spread here. But I do think the Titans, especially at home after the big win against the Seahawks, I think it gives them a lot of confidence.
The reason why I'm picking the Colts is because they're 0-2. They're going to be motivated. They don't want to go down 0-3. I think if Wentz plays, because I agree with you, he's playing much better than you think he would play after all of that mental, physical pain that he went through with Philly. So I just think that they're going to be motivated, especially a division game on the road. I get that Tennessee is obviously the smart and safe bet. I get that. But I just feel that, this is an upset pick for me. I got the Colts winning on the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's not can't fault you for that. I think Tennessee takes it handedly, and I think the Jacoby Brissett, the one other reason, why I'm picking Tennessee is because Jacoby Brissett last week did not give me any confidence.
Decent.
I thought. Sorry, who did Brissett play for last week? Is he not on the Colts anymore?
He's with the
No,
Dolphins.
he was the Dolphins, man.
That's what it was. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it was Eason. Eason does not give me any confidence last week. They both didn't, but excuse me, Brissett, Jesus. The Dolphins, thank you. Eason did not. I mean, I know he's a Buffalo boy, and I'm obviously from Washington State, so he's a local. But he did not give me the biggest amount of confidence. He's got a huge arm, but I don't think the decision making is there yet. I don't think the knowledge and the experience obviously is there yet. So I think if Wentz doesn't play, they're going to struggle to keep up with the Titans on offense, unless their defense comes out and absolutely dominates, which is possible. But I just think the Titans are so loaded on defense, it's very hard. So loaded on offense, it's just so hard to stop them. So I gotta take the Titans, even with Wentz, even if Wentz plays, but especially if he doesn't. The 5.5 is not nearly enough. And both ankles, that's tough. That means he's going to be limited.
That's real tough. Yeah.
Both ankles. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens at the Detroit Lions. The Baltimore Ravens are the 9.5-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, and I don't even think I need to explain why, but
I think this one is just pure easy. I don't think there's no debate on this one or a thought process. Although the Lions have been decent offensively, but they can't stop anybody. I mean, you've seen the game last week or this past Monday. I was watching the game. I seen 17-14 Lions, and all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, I see 35-17. Like, what happened? Like, they can't stop anybody. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. This is easy. It's not even in the question or debate.
Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with both of you guys. They have DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson. Outside of that, they have no weapons on offense. Baltimore's lost a lot of guys to injury, and yes, it is in Detroit. 9.5 is a lot of points, but Detroit can't stop anybody. And yes, they looked good for the first half last week, and they made me lose some money. Thank you very much, Jared Goff. Because Aaron Rodgers can't figure it out until the second half. But the point is like they don't have enough weapons, and I don't trust Jared Goff, and their defense is not good enough to stop anybody. So Lamar's just going to run or walk them all the way down the field, whether it's him running it, handing it off, throwing it to one of the weapons outside. Even with the injuries at running back, they still have enough back there, plus Lamar's running threat to dominate anybody on offense, especially nobody that can stop that run or the pass.
True. Yeah, that's the easy one. Next.
All right, probably the most difficult one to call. We have the Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are 8.5-point favorites. Taylor Heineke is the new hometown hero in Chocolate City for the Washington football team. The Buffalo Bills are also coming off of a dominant win versus the Miami Dolphins in a blowout.
Go ahead, bro. I want to see what you say on this one.
Yeah, for me, I would try to tease this one down if I can. I would bet Buffalo to win the game, but 8.5 is a lot. I do not trust Tyler Heineke. That's not any of the reasoning why. The defense for Washington is very good, and while it was a dominant, I mean, their defensive line, you can't stop them. I mean, their defensive line is ridiculous.
The secondary is question. That's all. But go ahead.
But yeah, the secondary is not great. But when you don't have that much time, because the defensive line is so dominant, the secondary doesn't have to be ridiculous. But the Buffalo, while it was a dominant win last week, they still made a lot of mistakes. And I don't think without Brissett, speaking of, I mean, I must have just been talking in the future here. One of my previous comment about Brissett, because coming out and dominating after Brissett's in the game, I mean, that doesn't really show. And, I mean, I don't think Tua has shown that he's a huge difference maker right now at quarterback either. I think his accuracy is ridiculous and you can get there, but I don't think he's shown that either. But their offense still struggled. But Miami's a good defense too. Don't get me wrong; they have a very good defense, but their offense still struggled. I think if Tua stayed in the game or Brissett was the player he was with Indianapolis, I think that game might have been very different. I mean, I'm not saying they would have won, but I don't think it would have been a huge blowout that it was. So I think unless Buffalo gets back to and Josh Allen specifically gets back to the level of play he was playing with last year, the 8.5 points is so much. And Washington was a playoff team with Dwayne Haskins. I mean, Dwayne Haskins sucks in my opinion. So Heineke's not great, but he gives you a little bit of a dual threat. And I think Antonio Gibson is a monster, and Scary Terry is ridiculous. Logan Thomas, speaking of people that convert, I mean, we were talking about that earlier, was a quarterback at Virginia Tech, and now he's the tight end at Washington and just putting up numbers. So I think they have enough weapons to make it, especially if Curtis Samuel's healthy.
So you have Buffalo.
I would take Buffalo, yes, in this situation, but I'll try to tease them down. I would not take it at 8.5.
Another upset. I mean, is this really considered an upset? I don't know, but I guess it is because they're on the road. I got the Washington football team. Yeah, just straight up money line. I got them winning in Buffalo. Because how do you?
This is how you get your money back for the other money line bet. Huh?
I mean, do you really get credit for beating the Dolphins? I mean, they're the Dolphins. I mean, I don't know.
Wait a minute. This is a divisional game. They deserve credit because they killed them in a divisional game. Can't argue with it.
But it's the Dolphins, though. I mean, everybody expected the Dolphins to lose. Not like that, but I didn't think Buffalo was going to win. I mean, Didn't you take the Dolphins? Didn't you take the Dolphins last week? No, I don't think I did. I think I took Buffalo.
Don't worry. I'll pull the tape.
Yeah, pull the tape. But yeah, I don't think.
He said, don't worry. I'll pull the tape.
Josh Allen is not playing like he was before. He's still like getting his legs under him. It's still like early season jitters or something. I got Washington. I got the football team winning.
Okay. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints at the New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 3 points. The New Orleans Saints are coming off of a terrible loss versus the division rival, the Carolina Panthers. And the New England Patriots are coming off a dub with a dominant defensive performance by the Patriots versus the New York Jets, where they forced Zach Wilson for the New York Jets to throw 4 interceptions.
I think that this is close for a reason. I think it's wrong because I think what happened in week 1 with the Saints, everyone blowed up, over-exaggerated Jameis Winston, his 5 touchdowns. I think that was just an anomaly. I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays that bad ever again. So I think 3 points is too low for me. Basically, they just got 3 points just because they're home. I think it should be maybe 6, 6.5, 7. New England will cover, in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, I'm really excited about this game. I really want to watch this game just for the defensive mastermind in Bill and the offensive mastermind in Sean Payton.
Yes.
Especially Sean Payton coming off of that bad of a performance. Somebody was speaking about Jameis earlier. He definitely showed more of the Buccaneers Jameis than he did of the Jameis from week 1. So I don't think he's fully over the mental issue, or not the mental issues, the mental aspect, or the knowledge of the game, or the decision making, I should say. I don't think he's over the decision making issues that plagued his career to date. But I love Sean Payton, and I think he's so creative on offense. They don't have too many weapons, especially with Michael Thomas out. I mean, they're relying on a lot of young guys to really step up outside of Kamara. So that's what worries me a little bit. I think you're going to see a little bit more of Taysom Hill, a little bit more Taysom Hill package. So I think New England will cover 3. I think they're going to win the game at home. And I do think they cover 3. I try to buy it down or wait for the line to get at 2.5 just to cover the field goal issue. But I do think Patriots cover here, but I'm not going to bet just because I want to watch the game and just enjoy the game for the offensive and defensive masterminds that they are.
Right.
So I'm not going to bet personally, but I'll probably lean Patriots just because they're at home. I don't know what it is about rookie quarterbacks. I think it's just a fear or a stigma about Bill Belichick. There's never a rookie quarterback that comes out and dominates. I mean, Belichick dominates every single rookie quarterback. So while the 4 picks, and yes, their defense looked dominant, I don't really chalk that up to their defense being the top defensive unit in the NFL like they kind of showed against the Jets. I chalk that up to it's a rookie quarterback against Belichick. But their defense is really good. So I do think it's going to be led by their defense, and that's why I lean towards them.
Yeah.
Patriots. G has the Saints. I'm going Patriots.
No, I have the Patriots. What do you mean?
So you taking the Patriots? You back in the boat, because I know you was being an individual earlier. But next game we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 6.5. The Los Angeles Chargers just came off a loss versus the Dallas Cowboys, and the Kansas City Chiefs just lost a primetime game versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, what I want to say about Justin Herbert is that I'm really impressed with is his level of confidence that he had this previous week versus the Dallas Cowboys. Went out there, he threw 2 interceptions, but when you saw him throw the first interception, he did not shy away from throwing the football. Like he stayed loose and was extremely confident in his ability to throw the football. And unfortunately, they lost. But at the same time, you want to see that in the quarterback as far as confidence is concerned. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm on board with you on that one, DeVore. I definitely go Chiefs here solely due to the fact that they lost in the fashion that they did against the Ravens, especially with the Ravens so banged up and that being such a rivalry as it is right now. I think they're going to be locked in and dialed in, and I think they could easily blow out the Chargers. This is another one I'm excited to see because it's Mahomes versus kind of young or baby Mahomes, or the new Mahomes as people want to call him. He's got ridiculous arm talent just like Mahomes, but he definitely doesn't have the decision making or the talent around him or Andy Reid. So I'm excited to see this one, but I think the Chiefs easily take this because I think they're going to be so mad about last week that I think they dominate.
Yeah. I think they win by 10 points. The Chiefs. Yeah. This is an easy one,
Yeah. I also try to I'll probably take the over here because I think Kansas City is going to come out and score early, a couple times early, and I think the Chargers are going to have to catch up. And Herbert has the arm where one mistake, you can easily score a touchdown with Mike Williams deep, or Eckler taking a screen to the house, or whatever it might be. So,
if I could put a score on this, 35-24, something like that, around there.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Yeah.
I think it'll easily hit over and easy be Chiefs.
I think the Chargers will cover the 6.5.
So?
I think they will, because they're a high powered offense. They prove they can get it. They can get in the shootout and possibly win it. So. He did it with you guys. They're not your guy, Brighton, but G and Banks' guy, Dak Prescott. So
hold on. Dak Prescott is not my guy. What are you talking about?
You don't know the way you be supporting them, just like Banks. You're fanboys. You're in the fanboy group.
No, I just speak the truth.
You support him, and you're a Philly fan.
I'm in the middle. I speak the truth.
There is no in the middle.
I am not. Hold on. Time out. I am never going to root for any Cowboys. Stop. I'm an Eagles fan. I just speak the truth, brother. That's it.
You are either in or you're out. Are you in or out?
No, I'm Middle.
Ain't no middle. You're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. This is ridiculous. Next game is the Chicago Bears at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are the 7.5 favorites. It was just announced today that Justin Fields is going to make his first official start for the Chicago Bears.
What did I tell you? I told you by week 3 he's going to start. What week are we in? Week 3.
No, wait a minute.
Yes, I did. Go back and look at the tape. I told you. I said week 3.
No, wait a minute. Don't even make yourself sound like
yeah.
Einstein right now, because you're not Einstein. The circumstances. The circumstances.
Andy Dalton sucks.
No, the circumstances is because Andy Dalton is hurt. You said he was going to start due to the performance that Andy Dalton was
healthy, he wouldn't be starting this week. Stop.
He's hurt. But you said, the way it sounded was the way Justin Fields is going to be the starter for the Chicago Bears is if Andy Dalton didn't play up to the coaching staff's.
No, you said that. I said by week 3 he's going to start. That's all I said.
He did not need to play. I said he didn't need to play. That's what I said. He did not need to play. Well, okay, you go ahead and get the credit for that. But I'm definitely going to pull the tape on that too. But go ahead. I'm taking the Browns.
I take the Browns too.
And the Bears don't cover.
I think that the Browns offense is very potent. They have a lot of weapons on offense. Their defense is okay, but offensively they're very good. I think that the Chiefs game, I think they could have won. I don't know what the hell that last play was from the quarterback, but they had a chance to win that game. They were right there. So I think offensively, because of their potent offense, they'll be okay, and I think they'll cover. Oh, we lost Brighton.
I think they'll cover.
Yeah. Oh, he came back
right there.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I don't know. Just having, I think, my screen refresh or something. Sorry about that. Is it on me here? Sorry.
Yes, it's on you.
Okay. I actually go against both of you here. What's the status of Odell? Does anybody know? Is he playing?
I don't think he's playing.
Questionable.
Okay.
And no Jarvis.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. So I go against you guys here. I lean the Bears. 7.5 I think is a lot. I also think that Fields, their line's not good, and Myles Garrett is absolutely ridiculous. And so Jadeveon Clowney is also on the other side there. So their line is insane, which worries me a little bit. But I think Fields is very athletic, and I think he's going to be very determined and hungry to keep the job. I think he knows if he wins or it looks good, they're gonna hand him the keys. So I think he's going to be super motivated, and I think the Bears defense is athletic and very good, led by Roquan, and Khalil obviously, and can help defend Chubb contain Chubb. Chubb is ridiculous, and nobody's going to stop him.
But that O line for the Bears, that's the only question.
And again, Myles Garrett and Jadeveon are scary, but I think Fields, he's built like a running back, and he's got the vision and the body movements of a running back when he has a ball carrier. If you go watch, I think they did like a sports science or something like that on him, and the way he moves his body and his weight and his frame, aside from being like 6'3", but he's built like a running back, and he moves his body like a running back. So I think that's going to benefit him greatly in this game, because he's going to have to escape the pocket and run, whether it's actually take off and run with his legs or just run to buy time and roll out. I think he's going to have to use his legs though. So I think if he can do that, I think they have a shot at keeping. I don't think they win the game, but I think they have a shot at keeping it at 7.5, because Jarvis is hurt. They don't have Odell if he's not healthy. It's literally Kareem Hunt, Chubb, Austin Hooper, and Njoku. I mean, the other Rashard Higgins you can't count on. The who's the other guy there? That Peoples Jones. You can't count on. I mean, those aren't guys that you can bank on to go out. And Baker is not Peyton Manning. He's not Tom Brady. He's not going to take Troy Brown and make him break records in the Super Bowl. I mean, he's or Deion Branch and make him break records in the Super Bowl. Excuse me, and Troy Brown and win in Super Bowls with him. Like, he's not that type of quarterback. So I think he needs the Odell, and he needs Jarvis Landry as a security blanket. So that's why I think Bears have a shot at covering here.
Okay.
All right, so we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorite by 4.5. I will say the last week's game for the Chicago Bears, for the Cincinnati Bengals, it looked like they was going to try to make an attempt for a comeback versus the Chicago Bears, but due to two back-to-back interceptions by Joe Burrow, I felt like were critical in the Cincinnati Bengals' chances of winning the game. So, and also for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a little bit concerning as far as the quarterback position is concerned with Ben Roethlisberger, but
their defense is playing amazing.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and go with Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh is a safe bet because of the defense. I think that Ben just needs to manage the game as well as he can. They need to run the ball. They got two decent running backs. So if they can manage the game, they can run the ball, run heavy, and stop the run. Well, not stop the run, but just play great defense. I think that's a safe bet. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati can win this game. I wouldn't be surprised. But Pittsburgh's defense is just playing almost lights out. The reason why they didn't win last week, in my opinion, is because they weren't great on offense.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, G, for sure. I mean, their defense is ridiculous. Their defense is what made them so potent last year. Their offense was decent enough last year, but Big Ben, I think, needs to understand he's in a different spot in his career. It's not the Antonio Brown led offense. It's not you're not going out and winning the game with your arm anymore. Your defense is going to win you the game. Your running is going to win you the game, and you need to make smart decisions and make your throws count. But you're not the one that's going to go out and win the games anymore. Your arm's not that anymore. And I think until he realizes that, their offense is going to continue to struggle. The Bengals, yes, Burrow threw 2 picks. Or 3 picks, I think, on back-to-back plays, or 2 picks on back-to-back plays and 1 pick later, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But his ability to bounce back from that, he went and led him to two touchdown drives right after that. And that's you throwing the game away most likely and knowing that you threw the game away most likely, but you're still going out and fighting to try to give your team the shot. Right. I think shows a lot, but Pittsburgh's defense, I think, is going to be too much to overcome. And their line is not great at all. And I think TJ Watt and company is going to obliterate them. Yeah, they're going to get their 67th or 68th game in a row with a sack and continue that record hunt that they're going for, and I think cover the 4.5. Excuse me, but they're going to be hungry too from last week.
All right, so we have the Atlanta Falcons at the New York Giants. The Giants are favored by 3 points. Now, personally, this is my money line, one of my money line picks of the week. I went ahead and went with the underdog, which is the Atlanta Falcons, which I feel like they're going to obliterate the New York Giants. Be completely 100 with you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and let you have the floor.
But listen, I think I wish this was one of those times where it's a tie and both teams lose, because both teams are just awful, man. Like the Giants, they probably are a better team, but the mental mistakes that they made last game was just. It's just so awful to see. Like, how do you make that many mental mistakes? And Saquon is not 100% healthy. They can't rush the quarterback. It's like I just wish both teams would lose, but the safe bet is the Giants because they're at home. That's why they're just a 3-point favorite. So
New York. The Falcons aren't that bad at what I thought they were going to be defensively. They held in there versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until Matt Ryan started turning the football over. So if we could just maintain those turnovers, I feel like the Falcons could be a pretty competitive team in the NFC South.
No, I don't know.
No, I'm with you on this one. I think the Falcons are trash. I don't think. I think the Falcons' best shot this season is by putting in Josh Rosen at quarterback.
Whoa!
Sorry, I'm never going to get over that.
Said. Oh my god! I'm going to bring that up all the time.
That's what I'm saying. I can't get over it. On a more serious note, no, I do. I mean, I stay away from this game entirely. I can't trust either team. Giants are more talented. Giants have a better defense. Falcons have an explosive offense. Daniel Jones is absolutely atrocious. I don't understand how he's so good at some points and just so bad at others. And Matty Ice, always consistent, but he's never consistently great. He's just consistently above average. And again, their defense is so bad that I don't know. I mean, I would stay away from this game as far as I could. But Giants are at home and have the better defense, so I would lean that way.
Right. This is one of those games where you wish that both teams would lose.
100%. Yeah, 100%. This game I don't even want to see the highlights of, unless it's Calvin Ridley or Kyle Pitts, because they're on my fantasy teams. But other than that,
all right. So another possible upset game this week that I have
no upset
is the Miami Dolphins at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are favored by 3.5 points. Now, the Dolphins are going to be without starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. And currently on the injury report you have for the Raiders is Derek Carr. He is questionable. And Josh Jacobs is considered ruled out for this game. Now, I did want to bring up the possibility if Derek Carr is unable to go for this game, you're going to have to deal with Nathan Peterman.
But then the Raiders have to deal with Jacoby Brissett. So
I'm going to say this one more time. Nathan Peterman. Take the Dolphins.
No, I wouldn't. Okay, so I'll say this: if Carr is healthy, obviously the Raiders.
Take the Dolphins.
Obviously, but if he's not healthy,
regardless, take the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think if Carr's healthy, it's got to be Raiders all day. I think if Carr's not healthy, unless you are John Gruden or in John Gruden's family or fan club, you do not want to put any stock or any money into a quarterback named Nathan Peterman. For some god-awful reason, I have no idea why, John Gruden loves himself some Nathan Peterman. I'm not sure what it is, but he just loves him. But no, I trust Jacoby Brissett, even as bad as he looked last week, over Nathan Peterman. So I agree.
I agree. So
Dolphins
again,
all day. Dolphins.
So even hold on, wait, Devore. So even if Carr is playing, you still picking Dolphins?
Yes, I'm taking the Dolphins.
Okay.
Remember, I didn't take the Dolphins last week. I didn't take the Dolphins the week before that, so I'm taking the Dolphins this week.
And you're gonna be wrong again.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna be right. And then the Dolphins fans are gonna sit there and be like, "What happened?" Well, let me explain. The Dolphins, they are a blitzing defense. Derek Carr is not as mobile as people think. So they're going to be able to put consistent pressure on Derek Carr, regardless if he plays or not, and that's going to accumulate in turnovers. Now, when it comes down to Jacoby Brissett did not have a full week of practice with the Miami Dolphins starters. If you give Jacoby Brissett a full week of practice with the starters, Jacoby Brissett can be a very, very serviceable starting quarterback in this league, like he's shown with the Indianapolis Colts. So take the Dolphins, and you come back and thank me later.
Okay, well, I hope you're right for the Dolphins' sake. I hope you're right.
Hey, I wasn't confident in the Dolphins last week. I wasn't confident in the Dolphins against the Patriots, even though they shouldn't have beat the Patriots. But I'm confident in the Dolphins this week.
Okay. Here goes the big game coming up. This game is going to be hard to judge. But go ahead.
Okay, but then
not that one.
We have the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos, which the Denver Broncos are the 10.5 point favorite versus the Jets. Now, my reasoning for that is considering the fact that Zach Wilson threw 3 interceptions in that New England Patriots game last week, and they're going up against a very, very talented, even more talented defense in the Denver Broncos, where you have Bradley Chubb and you have Von Miller, and you have a very, very potent secondary for the Denver Broncos. I can see why they gave the Denver Broncos a 10.5.
Imagine you're a rookie quarterback and you played against a Bill Belichick defense, and now you got to go all the way to Colorado and play against Von Miller in that pass rush. It's going to be 2 blowouts in a row for the Jets. Unfortunately, they don't have a chance at all.
Yeah, no, I tease the Jets on this if I can. On my ticket, I do have the Jets teased on a sweetheart 10-point teaser, so 20.5 points favored. Or not favored, excuse me, 20.5 plus 20.5. So I think Robert Saleh doesn't get enough credit for how good of a defense he could have. Their talent is not good, but 10.5 is a lot. Their offense, Broncos' offense is good. Playing in Colorado is not easy. I think Wilson's going to be hungry though for how bad and how embarrassed he is for his performance last week. So I think he's going to come out. And the Broncos are talented on defense, but they don't have a lockdown corner in a Steve Gilmore fashion. So I think you can get a Corey Davis, or you can get, scheme Elijah Moore, or you can scheme, one of your guy, Jamison Crowder, open to give Wilson some help. And I think they have to open it up a little bit more for Zach Wilson, is what I'm trying to say. Like, their play calling was very conservative last week. They ran the ball a lot, and Tevin Coleman, in my opinion, is not your guy anymore. He's not super explosive or super dynamic in any way. I mean, he's decent all around, but I think they have to give Michael Carter a shot. You have to give somebody else a chance, and you have to give Zach Wilson a chance to go out. You got him weapons. Let him see what he can do. The line's not bad there. Let him see what he can do. Mm-hmm. So I take the Jets here, 10.5. That's a lot of points.
Wow.
Okay. Who'd you pick, G?
He had Broncos.
Broncos. All right, so I feel like to stay
this
away.
This is the game I was talking about.
You got to stay. This is the game you definitely got to stay away from. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Rams. Tampa Bay is currently sitting as a 1.5 point favorite versus the Rams. Very, very two extremely talented teams. Mm-hmm. Only issue with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is I feel like they play around so far in the first 2 games of the season. They play around and let their opponent hang in the game. And I feel like this is going to be the week where their opponent ends up catching up to them. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I think as great as I think the Rams will win. Not easily, but it'll be – I don't think you can go by points in this game, in my opinion. I think 1.5 is smart, maybe 3. But I see a close game. I see the Rams at home winning a close game, maybe by a field goal. We'll see. I don't know if I could put a score on it just to take an educated guess. Maybe something like a 31-24 or something like that, or maybe a 30-27, somewhere where it's either 3 to 7 points. The Rams are the better team right now, but I can see this team playing in the playoffs in the future. But this is one of those games where you can't go wrong with either pick, to be honest with you. But at the same time, just like we made a point earlier, the Buccaneers have played the Falcons, and then they also played the Cowboys. So both defenses are not as great. So this is their test to play against an actual real defense. So we'll see. But I got the Rams at home.
Yeah, I stay away from this game. Personally, in terms of my money, I'm not betting on it. Can't ever bet against Brady in terms of I've already lost. Can't even imagine how much money I'm going to lose in my fantasy bet that I was telling you guys about at the start. So not putting any more money against Brady. They do play around too much. I think unless they come out with determination like they did in the Super Bowl in terms of shutting down Mahomes and doing that every week in, week out, and shutting down the opposing offense, and then letting their offense, again, get into rhythm and get going early. They play around too much. I don't know. The Rams are so good. They're at home. They have Aaron Donald. Tom Brady's talking about not mobile. Tom Brady, I mean, he's mobile in a pocket, but he's not a mobile guy at all. So I think that's scary. And at home, and Rams look good. I think they're fired up. Stafford, for the first time in his career, is on a team with like playoff, not goals, but like playoff expectations and Super Bowl goals instead of continually year in and year out being on a bad team. So I think he's going to be fired up. So it's a scary bet, but smart money is probably on Tampa Bay, in my opinion, just because they won the Super Bowl for a reason, and their offense. Antonio Brown looks like he's back. Offense looks good. They're at home, or they're only 1.5. I mean, it's not like you're having too much of a spread to worry about in terms of points. So smart
What's
money
the
is probably
over-under
Tampa
on this
Bay,
one?
but
The over-under for this game is going to be.
you got it in front of you.
I do. Over-under for this game is going to be 55.5.
I'll take the under.
Yeah, I like the under here too. Both defenses are too good for that.
Yeah,
Both
I
offenses
agree.
are
55.5.
ridiculous, but it's too high.
55.5 under, definitely. All right, Brighton, your Seattle Seahawks at the Minnesota Vikings. Can they bounce back from a heartbreaking loss versus the Tennessee Titans in overtime?
Definitely, they definitely can. I see.
Seattle is the 1.5 point favorite, by the way. Cool. Please continue, G.
Yeah, just before you go out, because I know you want to go in.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think they'll bounce back. I think Minnesota's. I don't know what the hell Vor is talking about. They're not making the playoffs. They're not ready yet. Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. Stop it. I don't want to hear that. Plus, I think Seattle's motivated, extra motivated because of the not because they lost, but because of the way that they lost. They should have won that game. They should have. But the way that they lost, they'll be extra motivated. I think 1.5 is too low, to be honest with me. To be honest with you. But yeah, Seattle definitely. They'll cover.
Yeah, gee, I've never been more in line with you than I have tonight. Kirk Cousins, that man, I cannot stand him.
Yeah.
And the credit that he gets is just absurd. Like, he's not Rex Grossman, don't get me wrong, but he's not Alex Smith even. Like, he's terrible. So I've never been more in line with you than on that one. This is absolutely disrespectful and just absurd in my opinion. Yes, I'm biased, but you're gonna tell me the Seahawks are 1.5 point better team in a neutral zone? It looks like DeVore hopped out. Neutral zone than Minnesota? Like that is absurd. That is absurd. Minnesota's defense is terrible. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, you cannot trust. Dalvin Cook, as great as he is, you can limit him. You can't stop him, but you can contain him enough to allow, as long as Justin Jefferson doesn't take over the game, which he's a monster. I think the Seahawks easily cover this, and I'm definitely going to be making a bet on this game on my Seahawks, even though I usually do not bet, just because I think this line is just disrespectful.
I agree with you, but again, it's kind of scary to bet on your own team. It usually does not work, but I agree. I don't see them losing 2 games in a row. I don't see that.
Plus, betting on your own team sucks when they lose because you get the double burn. I mean, when they win, it's great. You get the double win, but when they lose, it's rough. You got the next games on here? Okay.
Yeah, so Green Bay at San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are a 3.5 favorite. Wait, no. Yeah. What you got? What do you think?
Yeah, so glad my friend who I watch football with every Sunday does not pay any attention to technology because he's a huge Niner fan, and he's literally you got to walk through a Niner flag to get into his door to watch the football every Sunday. But I got to go Green Bay here. I think the Niners are a great team at home is great. I think their offense is dynamic. I think Kyle Shanahan is insane. I've preached that enough here on the show. But Aaron Rodgers woke up finally. I think first half I was scared, and again he was too late to help me out. But he finally woke up in the second half. So I think the offense is going to continue there. I think AJ Dillon will continue to improve and give them that Jamal Williams kind of second dynamic element in the backfield. And he's way bigger, so he gives them a different style. And then I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling has shown an improvement, and I think Aaron Rodgers is for whatever reason in love with Randall Cobb. So I think that helps him out there. So I think San Francisco takes this. Love getting the extra half a point, the extra point, realistically, the 3.5 instead of like a 2.5 here. So if they do lose even by a field goal, you're still in the green. So I definitely take Packers all day here.
I just think that the 49ers are not consistent enough on defense, mostly based on being healthy. They can't stay healthy on defense. So I think that's a great pick. So now here we go. My Philadelphia Eagles at Dallas. Dallas is a 3.5 favorite. You go first, man, because I want to go in on this. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, well, I probably should just mute myself here because you're not going to probably enjoy this one too much.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
If I bet, I'm still teetering myself, but if I bet on this, I definitely buy it down to 2.5, just because I don't trust the Dallas defense. But I think their offense is too dynamic. The Eagles have a solid defense, but I think Dallas is too dynamic. Zeke looks okay, and their Tony Pollard looks really great, and I think he's going to get more run there. So I think Dallas. Dak's just too hungry. CD looks like he's a monster, and I don't trust Hurts enough yet to know that he's the guy. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying he won't do it, but I don't trust him enough yet to say he is the guy that's just going to keep continuously putting up dominant performances and winning them the games. So that's why I go back here.
I agree with you. The issue with the Eagles is not their defense. The defense is actually playing pretty well. I mean, to hold a team to 17 games. The issue is they can't score. They can't get in the end zone. 11 points, that's not enough. So I hate to say this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because let me just say to the people out there, I hate the Cowboys, okay? I hate them. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I've never been a Cowboys fan, but I speak the truth. The safe bet is the reason why it's 3.5 is because of Philly's defense. They're great enough to keep the game close, but offensively they can't score right now. So Cowboys will cover. That's easy. That's not even a debate.
If there's ever one remedy to get your offense to figure out how to score, it's to play Dallas. So
that's true. That's true.
That's the one thing that worries me a little bit. That's why I'm still teetering do I really want to bet or not, because that Dallas defense just year in and year out just surprises me with how bad a defense can be. I mean, it just I don't understand it. All right.
Yeah, man. I think that's it. That's it. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say? Yeah.
No. Just so happy that football is back in action here. I mean, it's so great to be on the show here and just continuing to talk about football and having it back in action. I mean, there's nothing like. I made the joke after the first week that it was like better than Christmas Day for me. That Sunday. I mean, it really is. It's like you're a kid again, opening up presents on Christmas Day. So excited. I mean, for me, waking up every Sunday is just the greatest thing. Knowing I'm going to get 10, 12 hours of football. So. That's my final thoughts. Just excited and still super happy that football season's back up and super thankful to be have an opportunity to be on a show like this. About yourself, any last thoughts?
Well, yeah, no, I just want to shout out Havoc and Quinte and Banks. And I know we lost the Vor, but we're strong enough to be able to close out the show because that's how we are. We're a strong group. So just another reminder. We might do the Sunday night game. Packers, and we might have two watch games, the Sunday night game and then the Monday night game. We're definitely going to do a watch party on that. So, stay tuned. We'll be back on Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This is Not for Debate. Brighton, peace.
Yes, have a good one, guys. Take care.